Happy Sunday, everybody. This is story time with Surly. Oh, this past week was 4th of July, and I have a fireworks story. It involves an automotive shop that I worked at 22 years ago, 23 years ago, something like that. Anyway, so up in Virginia, there's a car dealership, and I won't say it because it's uh, still in business, and some of the people that I worked with still work there. But Chesapeake, Virginia, on Military Highway was an Acura dealership. I guess I could say that. We had a lead technician who was he's a pretty good technician. Well, he also enjoyed, y'all excuse the rooster in the background. He also enjoyed pranks, and he was one of those guys, unfortunately, that sometimes if you pranked him better than he pranked you, he'd get mad about it. Not all the time, just sometimes. Well, he had this habit of, and I want to say that fireworks are still illegal in Virginia, but we lived so close to the North Carolina border, you could just drive over into North Carolina and buy fireworks. Well, he had this habit of this time of year, he'd run down to North Carolina because we'd always go to the racetrack on Friday and Saturday nights because he was also a bracket racer. We kind of helped him out in the pit and everything. He would throw little black cats, like the mini ones, at people's feet, light them and throw them at people's feet while they were working on something. I mean, you could be sitting there doing a transmission recall on a 2003 TL, and bow, a firework would go off. Well, I took a week off of work and came down to Texas, where I live now. Came down to Texas to visit with my grandparents for the summer, or for a week during the summer. And while I was here, I bought some fireworks, and I brought some of them back up there with me. Well, and one day when he wasn't paying attention, and one of these was a good sized stick of, like an M80, like a 2 or 3 inch stick of noisemakers. And I waited till he was good and busy working on something, and I don't remember what it was he was working on, but he had a trash can right next to his toolbox, and I taped like 4 of them together with some masking tape, and twisted the fuses together, lit it, and threw it in his trash can. We're in the middle of a shop, like a 10 or 12 bay shop, and when this, they all, I don't know how, but they all exploded at the very same instant. So instead of there being a delay between one and the other, they all went off at the same time. Well, it shot paper and trash and empty oil bottles and all over. I mean, our shop ceiling was 30 feet high. It shot stuff up into the rafters, all over his toolbox, all over. Like, it rattled the window between the bays and the service department drive-through area. And me and a couple other guys started laughing from the other end of the shop, and he started screaming because he knew immediately that it was me. He started screaming. Well, the general manager, who was also a managing partner / owner, former Suffolk police officer, a big dude, like a good solid 7 feet tall, super broad, went to the gym every day. He comes, striding back there in his custom tailored suit and his Gucci loafers, and what in the hell's going on in here? The whole dealership just rattled. And so I explained to him, and I expected to get in trouble. But I didn't. I mean, he understood. We all played games with one another. And he said, next time do that crap out away from the shop. All right, no problem. Well, needless to say that after that, the lead technician didn't really pull any kind of firework pranks anymore. I mean, we still, at the time, we were running around with airsoft guns, popping each other. You'd be arms up, over your head working on putting a clutch in or putting a CV axle in or dropping a fuel tank and you get popped in the back with an airsoft gun. That's just the kind of, I guess you could say, brotherhood or camaraderie we had. Mess with each other as much as possible. So, on another instance, this is like a little bonus story here. So that general manager I was telling you about, that was a former Suffolk police officer. They had to do randoms, right? I mean, typically if you didn't damage nothing, you didn't get drug tested. Well, they had to do randoms, and I told him one time, he was coming around asking if anybody had studied. I told him I don't need to study because I don't do that kind of stuff. And he said, man, I bet you $1,000 you'll burn a hole in the bottom of a cup right now. I didn't have $1,000, but I told him, I was like, all right, I'll take that bet. So they sent me up to HR, and they had a on-site something or other come in for the day for insurance purposes and this, that, and the other. I think we were renewing insurance policies, and Aflac was there and all this other stuff. Well, I passed the drug test, and this guy counted me out 10 $100 bills and said, there you go. Like, that was the kind of, that's something I miss definitely about working at a dealership. It's hard to get in a dealership and there be a good brotherhood these days. But there, it was a whole different environment, work environment than other shops I've worked in. But that'll do it this week for Story Time with Surly. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, comment, question, concern. Again, I apologize for the roosters in the background. I'm sitting in the garage and they can hear me in here talking. But I'm gonna get back to it. I got about 9 million things going on this week. I got a Mercedes I got to do an AC on. I just moved some vehicles around to the shop, which was a lot of fun. I wish I'd have gotten that on video. Using a forklift to push a Bronco was kind of interesting, especially with your wife driving the Bronco. But anyway, folks, I appreciate all the support. To everyone out there who hasn't yet, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, question, concern. We'll see y'all later.